is Alex, your guide, and welcome to the fourth webinar of VFX for ArchVIZ. Okay, so we've done a lot during this class, and now it's time to wrap it up and create our demo reel. We've got a lot of sequences, and I'm using Nuke here. You can use this Nuke non-commercial version as well, since it's free with the full HD option, but you can also use Premiere or other program in order to do the same color correction. Okay, so I'm gonna show you Nuke first, and then we're gonna take it into Premiere and add some sound, do some transitions, play around with the sequences, and see how we can produce the best demo reel that we can. All right, now you can see a bunch of sequences here which I've added color correction. Previously we did some really quick learn and look around for the Nuke non-commercial version, but for this one I'm gonna show you the full scope. Again, I'm not gonna assemble passes because I think this needs to be a complete training for doing post-production in Nuke. I'm just gonna show you how you can take your sequence, do some cool color correction, add some slight good looking effects like sharpen and glow, and export it into a small video file which you can add in Premiere and start edit together with all your sequences. Okay, so trick number one is first open your sequence. Let me show you. This is the raw. You can see it doesn't have contrast, doesn't have anything. So open it in some editing program like Photoshop and do some cool color correction. So that's what I did. I opened my stuff in Photoshop here and I did some color correction. But then after doing color correction, I actually posted that picture on Instagram, and I've added something that's called Lux effect. This is embedded effect into the Instagram. So after trying to recap, because I think this effect looked amazing, I tried to read a little bit about this Lux, and it does have a lot of things in it. It does semi HDRI image, that means it lowers the highlight and bumps the darks. It does the contrast, like perfect contrast. It does some colorization here. We can see that this stuff does not exist at all in this yacht right here, but in this one we can see a lot of yellow color in the waves, which came from the sun. Now I know that might not look very realistic because we don't see the entire scene. So I had a lot of questions, people asking why the colors look like that. Well, because it's sunset. But in my final post-production, I actually didn't really recap the whole thing. I kind of left it with more natural colors. Okay, so let me just drag and drop that sequence and show you what the things that I'm doing in order to make that thing look like this. Okay, so I'm gonna go and get my sequence. So I'm just gonna drag and drop that first image into the Nuke. Now if we'll double click on it, here we have that PNG that was loaded, and I'm gonna load this Adastra animation, and I'm gonna click one. So you can see if I click one or two, anything I want to see in the viewer, I just click number and it gives me the preview. You can see all of my sequence connected to this viewer. So if I go 1, 2, 3, I can go between the sequences. If you want to assign a number, just select that sequence, click for instance 4, and this for instance 5. You can see I can reassign those in order to view it in my viewport. Okay, now let's go back to this one that I've just dragged and dropped right here. Okay, that's my Adastra sequence. I'm gonna go to my last frame here, which is 200, and do some color correction. Now for that I'm gonna bring this image in order to give me a little bit better view. So this is 1 and this is 2, like this. So 1, 2, 1, 2. It's very easy to switch between and see how the color is working. Okay, so I'm not gonna get this yellowish kind of tone to my the sunset kind of gave that tone, but I'm not gonna bring it back. I'm gonna try to stay kind of neutral and more natural with my colors. So first thing that I do, if I do right click, I like to add some color correction. So that's in the colors here. I'm gonna click C, and from here I'm gonna do, I like to start from highlights all the way at the bottom and see how those guys work. Okay, so in order to see the effect working, I have to click here 1, okay, and switch that line from my main image is like this to the second one. Okay, so 1. That's exactly what's happening here. So we don't see much happening on the highlights, so therefore I'm not gonna do any extensive work. I might add a separate color to it. So let's kind of level it up, and let's move to midtones, see how this works. So with midtones we're getting much better representation here. So let's do a little bit gain and do contrast, and I'm not gonna add saturation, actually lower it just slightly. Then we're gonna work on the shadows. So basically we want to get a nice contrast in the waves. Again, if we go here and analyze it, we can see how beautiful the contrast here working on the waves. So I'll try to kind of mimic that effect. Right, but not too much. I don't want to really get those black points here, so be careful with your offset. I'm gonna go and do some stuff on the master. So that's basically overall effect to my image. All right, so something like this. Okay, now after that I like to add some glow. Let's add glow. And that's a little bit too much, so let's tone it down. A very slight gentle glow. You don't want to make it too much, too obvious. So the glow again is just for the feeling and not for the look. Now how you can see the effect, you press D, the letter D, like dynamite, and you just click and see how effect been applied. So you can lower it down if it's a little bit too obvious. So something like this would work good. All right, now after that I like adding hue shift, actually hue correct. Let's do the hue correct. And with the hue we have the saturation, we have the lumion. So the lumion will actually give me more light on those areas. Like on the yellow, I want to have it a little bit more brighter, so that's what I'm gonna do. Those are the greens. You can see we have some green in the water, which I made here, which looks pretty cool. The blues, we can actually darken the blues a little bit, and somewhere here. Now let's see the red channel. I'm gonna give a little bit red here. Again, not too much. I still want to stay in this bluish. You can see the cyan tone is working very nice with my color. I don't want to make it too red, so somewhere here is good. Now green channel. Again, you don't really have to do it. I just like to go and really see how every color works in my scene. You know, green, red, and blue, those are the essential ones, and everything in between is the mix. How you can get better with those, just download pictures from internet, you know, get the feeling and try to recap that color correction like I did here with this image. I did some color correction in Photoshop, and then it went 2 times actually. I posted in one my personal account, which is VRay Guide on Instagram, and then I posted it to VRay School. So this image went twice through that lux effect in order to get that cool color correction. Okay, so first get your reference and then work with the reference in order to achieve similar result or better. Okay, so here again I feel kind of gloomy in this image, so I'm gonna go and tone down my glow. Again, I kind of switched back and forth and I really start feeling it. Okay, now double click on the effect. Let's go and finish what we've been doing here. So I'm trying to stay more on the cyan side, less on the bluish side, just to give my image this cool characterization per se, because I think the natural colors with the sunset would a little bit might be a little bit too much. So basically I can balance any color with this effect here. Okay, with the hue color correct. Alright, again, this is very minimal, but you have to start working with this in order to get your eye more sensitive to those colors. Like, I don't really know if you can see how the blue really works, but you have to get it in the perfect state in order to match your image. And saturation threshold, I'm not gonna do this at all. So if you did it a little bit too strong, you can always remove it. So you can see we had a lot of yellowish reddish tones here, but by adding this hue we kind of moved back to more natural and more cyan color. Okay, now after that I'm going to add some sharpen right here, and that's sharpen. Oh wow, we can see everything became so clear. That's the size here. So be careful not to overdo it. So somewhere here would be very cool. Alright. Again, click D in order to see how the effect works. Now next thing I want to do is to add another color correct, but this one is going to be different. It's crosstalk. Kind of helps in getting the small details in. So let's get this to work. You can see we can correct and bring back a little bit the reddish tones, which is pretty cool. Green. Again, not too much, very careful not to ruin what we've done before. This process takes some time, and it's always good to have a little break in between so you can go and refresh your eyes. So while I'm doing here, I'm just looking what's looking good, and I'm going in that direction. So that's, I think, what was kind of last time. R to B, red to blue, kind of was a little bit exaggerated, but it does give that kind of natural, realistic effect. Not too much, but something here. Alright. Now let's do here, G. Again, very carefully working with those. I really don't want to get my entire image kind of too much blue, so I want to have some variation of color going on in it. And this is kind of the final touch after the hue correct. Get your image into the right color. So again, now we can see this colors coming out similar to what we have here, but it started showing. Previously just was not exist. Okay, so if we go to the original one and click one, you can see all this beautiful contrast that we're getting here. It's kind of washed out. Okay, so let's switch 1 2 1 2, see what we need to add more. We can see the image is way brighter, so let's add some exposure. And right here on the exposure, gets a little bit the black point a little bit lower, so somewhere here. Okay, now we can see very obvious vignetting effect, so let's try and do that. I actually downloaded this vignette from the Nukepedia. We can download a bunch of them, so I'm just gonna Control V, Control C. It doesn't come with Nuke the vignetting, but you can simply download and drop it in the Nuke folder, and you will get that vignette. Okay, so let's see our vignette. Oops. Double click on the vignette and let's see how this works. Okay, so somewhere here. Again, let's go back to our example. I did a little bit too much, I guess. And maybe we can bring a little bit more exposure up. Now, if you try to do something and it doesn't go, the best way is to go back and try to do those fixes here. So again, I can see that my highlights are really popping out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try kind of tone it down a little bit, just slightly. And I might even add another color correction, because everything I'm doing here is not working. So with this color correction, I'm just gonna do the work on the highlights. Okay. Alright, so I already can see that this part, it was overexposed, but now it's getting under somewhere here. I don't want to crazy expose it, but voila, we kind of got this area right here with too much sun and too much exposure fixed. Again, not too much. I don't want to flatten it. I just want to tone down the exposure of my highlight. Okay, so somewhere here, I'm getting a little bit more detail. Okay, I'm pretty much satisfied with this. Let's see what other things I have in my other. Again, it's all pretty much the same. I have glow, sharpen, hue, vignetting, some crosstalks. In some cases I have 2 crosstalks, but this is the main kind of sequence for all of this stuff to get my image looking good. Now when we've done, I'm gonna click tab and I'm gonna click write here. So I'm gonna get a writing node. With this writing node, I can export my animation, my sequence. So I'm double click on the file here, and I'm gonna save it. Let me save it on my desktop. Test adastra .mov. So you already write in the format and you click save. So now it's you see it's converted automatically, and by default it gives us 24 frames. So just for the sake of this idea, let's go ahead and export that as it is and see how this looks. So I'm gonna click here render, and from 0 to 200, that's my destination. The clip is going to get exported. Alright, and the sequence is done. Now I'm going to open Premiere and load this sequence into Premiere. I'm gonna create new project, call it demo reel, and I'm gonna put it in the folder on desktop. Demo reel folder. Okay. Now let's go and drag and drop this adastra sequence right here and see what we've got. Alright, so that's my first sequence. Again, here I also can do some color correction. So let's add another sequence. I'm gonna bring it from my alright, and the sequence is here. So that's our wine sequence. Now here we can do also color correction. If we go to effects, let's do curves. That's what I like to do. RGB curves. And let's go to effect controls, scroll down here. So like in Photoshop, we can add more contrast to our image, and we can also play a little bit with the colors. We don't want it too bluish or too greenish. Want to have a really cool color correction to it, somewhere here. Alright, yeah, this looks good. A little bit on the greenish side, kind of gray greenish side, not too much of a blue. Alright, now another effect we can add is sharpen. I always like to add sharpen to get my images clear. So sharpen effect, you can see gives all the detail, brings the detail out. Alright, that's too much. So again, this is also more for the feeling, less for the look. Don't overdo it. So I don't go above 14, 15. Everything above, I think, gonna give it too crispy look. But this is looking pretty sharp. Look at that nice looking water. All right, now you can go ahead and search for sounds. You can add sounds. Sound will add a lot to this thing. And let's see what other colors we can do. So I like to add fast color correction. This is a really fast way in order to fix your white balance. Okay, so I'm just rotating and seeing when it's like where it's like really looking good, and then I'm just gonna leave that at that point. I don't want to get too much reddish, too much greenish colors, but somewhere here I think it might look good. Again, you can click on the effect and see how it's working. I think it's a little bit too much, so let's tone this down somewhere here. Yeah, it gives that slight, it takes it out of the bluish and gives it a little bit more warm color, which is nice. Alright, now you can go and check different effects that we have here. Channel, different blur, sharpen, unsharpen mask. So basically most of the effects that Photoshop got, you can find them here. So everything you actually do color correct in your Photoshop, you can have it in Premiere. Okay, so after you guys done with this, we can go and look for some cool sounds and some music. So I actually like funk music. I think it adds a lot. So just type in free commercial funk and go on YouTube and check what those are all about. Let me see this one.
Searching for music for your next video? Then you need to check out ArchVIZ.
Alright, so I like to get something that is slower beat. I think this one's working pretty good, and it's royalty free, so I can use it in my reel. I can use it in a commercial project, I think, but it's good enough for my reel because my reel is not commercial. So I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna type in download YouTube, and here I'm gonna paste that, select MP3, and click start. Now it's gonna convert and it's gonna let me download that music to my computer. Alright, now let's drag and drop it here. Alright, it looks pretty cool, pretty catchy, and the beat is good. I like it, so I'm gonna go and pull up more of my sequences and try to assemble. So let's go to the project, import. Let's get some more sequences in. So for my sequence of a yacht, I'm gonna start somewhere here because I don't really want that back off. And with my water, I'm probably gonna stop it somewhere here. I'm gonna mute this for a second. So, alright. Now I went also and downloaded a bunch of cool free presets here. Free transitions for Premiere. I'm going to post this link below where you can download, but they have a lot of those cool transitions. Let me show you what those transitions are all about.
Create professional and beautiful videos faster with Envato Elements.
So you can see it's kind of new edge, whatever they sell right now for all of those bloggers. You know, different twists, zoom in, zoom out, and it's free. You know, you don't need to buy it. You can just download it and watch this tutorial. It's a good tutorial that shows how to use those presets. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my effects and presets, and here I've got those. I've already loaded them. It's very easy to load. Just follow the tutorial. Just need to right click, import presets, and then boom, you have all of those stuff here. So in order to do let's see, slide down, so from here to there, maybe I want to do slide to the side, so I'm gonna do side left, and it says 20 frames, so I'm gonna do one, so I need to count 10 frames left, 10 frames right, so I'm gonna do 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, cut it here, and then go here, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and cut it here. Now let's do adjustment layer, go back to my projects, new item, adjustment layer. I'm gonna put this adjustment layer on top of those effects and have this, going back to my effects, so we're gonna use this left frames. Okay, so I'm gonna take that and put it on my adjustment, and the base I'm gonna put on the first and then on the second. Okay, and now let's play it. Whoop. Pretty cool stuff, huh? Let's see how it goes with the music. Cool, right on the beat. This is another very important thing. You want to cut right on the beat, so the sequences and the changes of the sequences will be synchronized with the music. I think it's something very cool to do. Okay, so very easy stuff, guys, not a rocket science. Let me show you what I've been doing so far. I've pulled all of my sequences that I did during this workshop and kind of assembled them all together. It's still not done, you know. Some of the sequences, if you remember, they had sound in them. Here I put like a fountain sounds with kids, and on the boat I put a sailing sound. So all of the sounds are there. Now I just combine them all together, added music. Again, it's not final, but it's very, very close. I need to add another sequence of fire, do some color correction, and final adjustments. So let's just take a look how this whole thing looks. The best way to see, of course, to export that with media, and we're gonna use the H264 format. I'm gonna use the high bitrate because I want to have the, you know, the highest quality of this. And the name is VFX demo reel. I'm gonna export it to my desktop, so let's click export. Alright, so all together came out to be close to 1 minute. Alright, so the render is quick from Premiere, less than 2 minutes. Now let's go and see our demo reel. and looking pretty good. What do you guys say? Awesome stuff. Within 1 month we were able to get this cool reel with a bunch of effects. Of course, as you can see, I wanted to concentrate on the boats because this is the market that I'm trying to target. But again, I didn't want to exclude all the impressive shots that we have here with the fountains and the money shot that we had with the wine glass. I think those are very spectacular things that you can include in your VFX reel, but it always can get more concentration on something like I did. I concentrated on the boats. I have two sequences here that I just reused. I'm probably going to replace them later on with another sequence that I'm working on. This needs to be finished and rendered. This cool fireplace that I've done here. I still have some frames to render, about 30 frames, and then I think we'll be ready to go to be added to my reel. And you can see Nuke is very easy with 1, 2, 3. With those you can switch, you can select the whole thing, you can copy. If you have a new sequence, just go here and you can load a new sequence, and everything, you don't have to redo anything, everything stays as it is, and you get brand new sequence ready to go, ready to be exported. Just click here, click to export, and render it out. I think this Nuke program is really massive. It got a lot of stuff in it. You can do backgrounds, you can do a lot of things. Even there is a V-Ray for Nuke. So I warmly recommend you get the non-commercial version and start practicing your skills today, because this program is a future, and most of the professional companies will work with Nuke. Okay, so you gotta know this. Probably in the upcoming trainings I'm gonna show you how you can render OpenXR with all the passes in, and how you can extract all of those passes and get even better results. I didn't want to overload this. Again, we gotta keep it under 1 hour, so it will not be too much information, but this is it. Those are my sequences, and those are my sequences in Premiere. I'm gonna probably replace those that I'm repeating here with the fire, but I really want to get that reel out and start sending it to people, start sending it to companies, and trying to get some projects that include those examples. I can talk till tomorrow what I can do, but my demo reel speaks for my skills. I just send this demo reel. If you like it, we can work together. Alright, so the results, as you can see, are talking for themselves. Those images are looking pretty good, and I'm really looking forward to see what you guys came up with during this class. So upload your reels, share it with the community, let all the people see and know what you've been doing during VFX for ArchVIZ class. So I thank you very much for all of those that attended this class. We're running special promotion for those that missed it, so you can get it with a discount. We won't be able to have any more live sessions like we did this weekend, but I'm able to answer your questions in the forum. So get this training with huge discount, and I really thank for everybody that attended and watched and put effort in creating your VFX for ArchVIZ sequences and creating your demo reel. Okay, so thanks again for watching. Check out the promotion below. It's a limited time offer for this VFX for ArchVIZ, and I hope to see you with us in the forum and in the Facebook community. This is Alex, your V-Ray guide. Talk soon. Ciao.